Good evening, folks. Derry 0, Galway 1. Sorry, I'm just trying to put a positive spin on what happened. Tolka Park tonight again. Steph, I don't know what title we'll give you tonight, Steph. I don't know if we'll call you Captain Optimism. If you want to come up with something yourself, you can go with the Destroyer or something like that. If you can hit me with something better, go for it. But we're going to get straight into this game tonight. I'm really unsure how to introduce it, but we've got a goal, I suppose. That's probably a positive from Benno. But, I mean, again, we're talking Park, we're talking about a defeat. Let's get straight into it. What do we think, Steph?
Look, it was looking a bit bright at the start. I think. Yeah. I don't know if we caught Charles cold or they just didn't start the game. They were in first gear. They're probably looking at us at the bottom of the table, them at the top, and how they've started, how we've started, and just thought maybe it'd be a walkover, and we were getting the ball down, passing it, but we never really looked like we were threatening. Though we never really threatened. I know Archie Davis has an effort, but it's comfortable save for the likes of Conor Cairns, and the longer it went on, you were just fearing when it got to half time that Duff would sort of give them a rattle and the home crowd would lift if they didn't the cheer at all, because I think there was over 4,000 there, wasn't there, or something like that. So
that's right.
The longer it went on, and then the writing was on the wall. I know we've got the consolation at the end there, but I think we probably could have had a penalty at the end as well, and it would have been the fucking greatest bank robbery if we had walked out of there with any points at all, which is sad to say. Look, it's even you look at the result and say 2-1. Look, we might have been in the game, but
it's a case of probably the result. If you haven't watched the match, or maybe if it's coming off the back of not the results we got over the last couple of weeks, you might say, well, look, we're going to the top table, it's top of the league, the team is top of the league. You're 2-0 down, albeit not a great game overall, but I think it's just because we're now into tonight up. We're last 6 games, I think no goals at all, and like you say, we started well. We weren't outstanding, but the great Tony Sheridan had talked us up in comms in the first half. Even he had copped it, even as dodgy as his commentary is with some of the names and the name check and the clubs players used to play for. Even he knew, as a Shell supporter, that Dundalk had a right go at it, and it was almost like, it's a long time since I've heard a commentator being surprised at Dundalk having a go at Shelbourne and Tolka Park. Usually it's, can Shelbourne stay in the game, or whoever the away team is, because we've been so dominant over the last couple of seasons, albeit the last 18 months, 2 years apart. But, although we started well, again, it's, there's plenty of there's a bit of drive in it. But again, we're talking about this, there's no end product. There's nothing happening. There's nothing. Yeah. You're not being lifted off your seat, are you?
They were trying to play out from the back at the start, but they were lackadaisy, and we were pressing them actually decently and nicking some balls and stuff like that. But again, the ball's gone up to Cameron Elliott. Unfortunately, for me, he's not a target man. The runs in behind he makes, or I don't know what to make of him at all. But look, he doesn't do it for me. Gullen comes on with about 20 minutes to go, so he's not fully fit. McGuckin looked lively against Waterford. I know he's playing out wide right, but I'm led to believe he's a number 9. So I can't understand that decision for a start. Unfortunately, Hayden Muller's not a left back. We've seen him trying to dribble out from the left-hand side and just getting caught a couple of times. Or Archie Davis, uncharacteristically in the first half, was playing square balls. So even that sort of crept into his game, where he'd be usually solid and giving balls away and creating chances. Boyd nearly got in. Johnston covers across brilliantly. He's probably the one light that you can sort of take out of it. I think he's been very good since he's come in, and he's covered across a couple of times in the first half. So look, we could have been behind there. Boyd wide wasn't sharp enough, or he's just read it well. But like Donald's talking about Hooben, but like how are we gonna keep coming back to this? Like Hooben didn't even start tonight for Derry. He was on the bench, come on at half time. Like I know he's a goal scorer and that, but what is he picking up an injury, or is Higgins resting him for? I think Dave Shell's on Monday. So look, we need to. I know you can talk about it all day, but we obviously couldn't afford him, or whatever happened. I can't for the life of me see Stephen O'Donnell telling him he's not in his plans, and then go and speak about him at his tribute night or whatever, send off night or whatever he had. So I think we need to get on with what we have. We don't have a lot on the evidence of tonight. You're looking at the bench there, and you're thinking, like, Ryan O'Kane, how many minutes did he come on for? Durant was more dangerous than Hogan for me, or shift Hogan into the middle, do something. Benson was non-existent for me. I think he's lost when he's sort of pushed into that forward role more. Might be a bit harsh, but for me, there was one stage in the first half where he closed somebody down, he got a nick on the ball, and I, took a check and said, I didn't even realise he was playing. Like we're used to Benson picking up the ball off the centre halves or being the box 8-8 man. Like, and look, he's not the player he was. He's had serious injuries, but there's a lot wrong. Like Monroe seemed like he was very competent and a confident keeper. He was claiming balls in the air and he was decent at the back. And then we could see the goal, and I don't know if it's down to inexperience or being under pressure.
Yeah.
Every time the ball went back to him, then you were like, it looked like we were in trouble. He nicked one of their attackers on another night. We know the League of Ireland referees, how easy they are to brandish a red card, like, because he's obviously clipped him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
could be a straight red. I don't know. I've been in teams as well where the confidence just drains out of you, or you're on a poor run and just nothing seems to go right. But like, you're trying to look for any sort of spark or any sort of bit of light in it at all, and you're struggling. You're clutching at straws at the minute.
Like, just with Johnny, just the perfect time. I was actually going to mention Ostenbrink. It's obviously his first league start, right? And what we thought it would allow, what you just said there, it would allow the likes of Benson. I don't know what the plan was, Benson or Scott Hyde, to kind of move further up the field. But even if you talk about Burt's goal, the gap in midfield for him to get that ball and run 35, 40 yards unopposed, and then towards the two centre backs. He had the freedom of the pitch. He probably could have took another step with the ball. Honestly, didn't come to him, Mull or nobody. But like you just mentioned Benson there, and just with the comment of Ostenbrink, we seem to just it just seemed to open. It just seemed to part in the middle of the pitch. I'm not saying, it was just seemed to be, whatever the plan was for that split second, obviously when it's vitally important, just completely broke down. I mean, it was such a simple ball at the middle of the park, and Burt's just run right through them. Nobody, they've challenged him, but they haven't put a finger on him. And it's little things like that are costing us in games like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you see somebody running from that sort of distance out, it just looked like the big, massive gaps were there. Yeah, nice one, Keith.
Keith's a Pats fan. Don't listen to that daily fella, yeah. But it's little things. It's, I suppose, on nights like that kind of gap in midfield, that kind of breakdown, like you said, Monroe as well, that the confidence seemed to drain out of him after the couple, first couple of touches of that ball. He seemed the Shells really got at him. But is it a confidence thing? Go back to this thing of, are they losing confidence? Is it that little split second where you might get away with it in other games when you're maybe 3 up, or you're battering a team for fun? Dundalk are playing into that kind of role where teams aren't afraid to come on to them, and then when they do get at them, we're just giving them the freedom of the space, freedom of the pitch, just to get at us anytime they like.
Yeah, like, look, even when you go back to the second goal, like, Ansley puts in the last ditch tackle. It is a great tackle, and he sort of gets it out wide, but it's a last ditch tackle. They're nearly in, and then it's a nice bit of play from Jarvis. He splits the two defenders but just gets away from, I can't remember who it was, and pulls it back. But there was two lining up waiting to tap it in. Unfortunately, Muller gets his legs tangled and puts it into his own net. But Joe Martin, like, that's a criminal miss as well. Like, he's 1-on-1, and it could have been worse. Like, the Benson scoring at the end just puts a bit of respect.
Yeah, probably, more of a scoreline. Yeah, not the actual game. Yeah.
When you look at it, like, the second half, I thought they were like cruising. Like Mark Coyle, I think when they signed him from Finn Harps, I was saying it's a bit of an odd signing. I didn't think.
I was thinking the exact same. I was watching him tonight because the first time I was seeing him play, like,
look, I've seen him play towards the end of last season, and he sort of, I was saying, he's improved, but like, he was running the show there. He's a top player, but he's going from strength to strength there. He's my doppelganger, I think. But, he's actually.
There you go. Now. Tuck the word in his mouth, Donald.
Yeah, he's actually a good player, though. So, but yeah, like, look, he's a quality player, and look, they've picked him up from Finn Harps in the first division, and look, I know it's easy saying it now because he's playing really well, but like, Duff's obviously spotted him within the league. He's obviously a leader. He's come in. Luke Burns retired, obviously, due to injury problems he had, and Coyle has taken on the captaincy this year. And then you look at us, and Mountney gets his first minutes of the season, I think, club captain. Like, and you're thinking, like, is he going to be our left full now? Because he came on left full and he puts in a great cross, dangerous area for the goal. But like, is that the long-term solution? Like, two ends of the stick, like, where Coyle
and just on that cross, like, it's so late in the game. There's nobody even on the end of it. There's nobody busting the gut to get in there. It's just what Shane McGuck was saying. There's nothing seemed to be, there's nothing up front. We're just back to that crack again of, not to go off the point, but it's just when you mentioned the Mountney cross playing at left back again, nobody there. Last minutes of the game, like, even when we got the goal, there doesn't seem to be anything. We didn't seem to have any drive, send boys forward. There was nothing.
Yeah. Even Shane McGuck there saying, like, O'Kane got the ball the first time he got the ball, and he's raiding down the left, and he looks up and there's nothing in the box to hit, and he has to come back to Muller at left full or whatever. So, like, if you don't get people in the box, you're not going to score. And when we did at the end, Benson makes the late run and scores the goal. It's like, if I have one system of play that you're gonna try and get goals from, but if we're going to be playing out and out wingers like we always do, like, you should be either taking them on, getting to the end line and cutting it back, like Shells had been doing, or you cross balls into the box. But like, Elliott's not going to be the target man that we need. Hopefully, if Gullen's back fit, he can be that. But the couple of times I've watched him now, I don't know if he's going to be the answer either. So look, there's a lot of question. Like we said, there's a lot of question marks, and 7 games into the season, I think there's even more question marks now.
And I think we thought
honestly, like, just like, I know that is it StubHub or whatever you call it, like the predicted lineups, like, I don't think I've come close on any of them. Like,
I haven't even tried because I thought I'm going to get nowhere near it.
Like consistency, like, I know we have to change sometimes because you're not doing well, but like, you're always saying, like, if you're consistent at the back and then you can build from there. But look,
I'm just reading. I just see it at the corner of my eye here that James Rogers has a tweet up, and tonight's defeat constitutes the worst start to a season since 1972-73 season. Like, that's a frightening stat. Now, I know we're going back there, different eras, different levels of play, but that's pretty It's pretty shocking. Like, I mean, I actually forgot tonight. It was actually top against bottom in the league. I completely overlooked the fact that Shells were top of the league. I'm that concentrating on Dundalk and where we are. There's such a gulf. Like, I know we keep going on about the strikers. I know we keep going on about scoring goals. I think you had said in the chat, Cullen didn't even have his name on the back of the jersey. So I don't even know what they were planning on bringing them on or printed it in white. But there just seems to be such a lack. It's not that the players aren't there, right? Or I don't think it's a lack of, forward-thinking players. I just don't know if they're being crippled by the system. I don't know if it's the way they're being coached. It just seems to be something. It's just lacking. Like that Mountney cross is a perfect example. Nobody there. O'Kane had one. Davis had 1 or 2 in the first half. Davis had 1 or 2 poor touches in the first half as well. If we're talking about confidence, but we're really lacking something. We thought Cullen was going to be the answer. And look, we're very early days here, but from the Tala game, I think it set it up that we were going to have a really good positive start to the season, and just nothing's gone right since. And like I think somebody had mentioned, it might have been Darren. I don't know if it was Meehan or Meenan. I accused Darren Meehan of texting last week, and it wasn't. It was Meenan. Said something like, whatever was said at half time, Darren Meehan, but they come out a worse team than went in. So what's been said at half time? You're trying to motivate players, but are they being demotivated at whatever way the team talk's going at half time?
Yeah, I don't know whether they thought, look, we're doing all right here, and not that they can take the foot off the gas or anything, but like Shell's definitely stepped it up, and as soon as their tails went up and the fans got behind them, like it was just like wave after wave of attack, and it didn't look like we were going to get out. The spaces started opening up for them when they were running at us, and we just couldn't match them. It looked like we'd drained our energy out in the first half. Like you said, like Bert's quick, but it's not like he's coming into the league unknown. Like he's been around a long while. We know how dangerous he can be. He was electric for Bowes, and it didn't really work out from Michel's there, but we know how good he is, and he just probably needs either a run of games where he just played, and look, he scored a goal and he's set up the own goal. Like, they're the danger man. You do your homework on them. So
we will have Chris Clark coming in with us in a couple of minutes. He was live at the match tonight, so we'll be able to get a little bit of post-match reaction off Stevie as well.
I think we said that, like I said after the Sligo game, I didn't know Stevie was going to survive after that. I thought that might have been the result that pushed it over the edge too far, because being down 4-0 at half time, the way we played and everything else, like I thought there'd be no coming back from that. I think he know himself. He's under massive pressure, and when I have to sleep, David. But look,
I thought you'd like that one, Steph.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, we did mention, in fairness, a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what was it, the Galway game, or was it the Sligo match? I can't remember what we did say. I was saying like April 1st, that weekend where we had this game, and then we had the Loud Derby Monday. Could be a real either a turning point one way or another. But I honestly expected us to pick up a couple of points along the way. And it's really worrying now. Like Monday's game now, like nothing's going to change between now and Monday, but Monday's game is now massive. Like it's big anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a huge game now. It's like I don't think he'll come up against a bigger, and that includes probably his cup final with Pats. I don't think he'll come up against a bigger game in his managerial career than Monday. I don't think I'm going over the top and saying that, but after the nights and the last couple of weeks, Monday's absolutely huge, especially at Oriel Park, 1 o'clock in the day, no hiding place. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, and I've seen a few pictures floating about of the owner being here as well. So he's up at Tolka. So look, I'm sure he can feel that pressure on him as well, Stevie. Look, he's been around football long enough. He knows it won't be good enough, and he'll be feeling the pressure. So I don't know where we go from here. Hogan in the sixth, picking up balls to play it all, no drive at all. Happy to hold possession, and that there was no cutting edge. You didn't have anybody, running. You'd sort of think at times like that, like Durant is direct and he takes people on, but we didn't really see it too much. I don't think the pitch lent to that at all. But then again, you see Burt doing it in the second half. So, Ross Mahan, another one who seemed to have a decent pre-season, hasn't really got a look in. I don't know. Look, we don't know the ins and outs if they're not performing in training or anything like that. But I don't know. Like we've taken him in from Motherwell. Is he on loan? I can't remember, but he hasn't got a sniff yet. Like you're just wondering, like,
and you wonder how, like, you know, and that's not being disrespectful of him in training or whatever's on the field, but how are they not getting more minutes? How are we not seeing more? And considering the lineup never stays the same, you know, it seems to be one glaring omission from it. Like you almost forgot we had Ostenbrink there available.
Well, I think he need a couple of injuries already. Look, you've Dara Keane, who's like injury record was very patchy as is. He hasn't been available once, or if he has been, he hasn't made the bench once. I do think he's injured. I believe I heard he's injured, but like as much as they're not good enough though, or they're being sent out and it's not good enough. What's the answer then? I know everyone says get behind them, but it gets to a stage where look, it's early in the season as well. So,
and is Donal right there? Do you think is it? You know, I thought I was being. Even though I mentioned this weekend, I did think God. I even thought after the podcast that night I said it. I said I might be a wee bit critical here. I might be a bit overthinking it. But is it a do or die situation? Is it? You know, it's Derry away on Friday as well. You know,
yeah, but they're cat.
Goal a bit. Goal a bit. The two big giants.
Yeah, well, like you know, I think that they're on 5 at the minute and we're on 2. So look, it starts widening a gap straight away after. I think we have Derry and then the Bulls match was called off, so you're nearly through the first round of fixtures. Then, we've obviously a game in hand, but look, it's the longer it goes on, the more like the gap will widen. So, I think it's. I don't think you can understate it. It's a massive game now. It's. I don't always say the next game's the biggest game, but this is like a loud derby at home. We're struggling. We need to get 3 points. Honestly, like we need to get 3 points. Try and kickstart something. Get some positivity back into me because I'm drained.
And I think that's I dare I say it. I don't even think. Well, maybe like a cracking 3-3 draw might cover it. Maybe.
No.
But that's what I mean. Like an exciting game could see something, but when you look around at when you see comments, like we keep going back to comments, and like there's a good one from Patsy there as well. Like who would come in now? Like if it was a thing of, would you look to someone within the club, someone like, and we're not. Look, I'm not here to say anybody should be sacked. But look, we hate to see managers sacked, especially from our club because we're used to having the one all the time. But where do you go? I don't want to be throwing out names, but is it a simple, let's get rid of the management and the whole setup and we start from scratch? Or is it, at the end of the day, the players won't change until July? So is it, I know we can't leave it that long, but, I think the run of games that he's had over the last couple of weeks, I just don't see any other outcome without a win. Even like, as Chris would always say, regular, last minute own goal, it doesn't really matter once it's going in their net. We'll take any win on Monday, but it is, like Donal said, it is a do or die game. I didn't think we'd actually get to this stage. I thought we'd pick up a few more points along the way, but like Frank said, where are you going to get the points from? Like there's nothing to give you any kind of hope of beating a team like Drogheda on Monday, even at home. And it's really worrying now. The next kind of 48 hours. I think if it's a heavy defeat or a lackluster performance, maybe even with a draw, the questions will definitely be answered because they are being answered by the fans. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we have probably, like, I don't mean to blow our own trumpet. I think in the last 5 podcasts, when it comes to live shows, we've had over 1,200 people watching us. We normally get about 50. So that'll tell you, you know what I mean? The fans, and we're not saying it's just ours, all podcasts. I'd say, it's a fans-based, podcast. And at the end of the day, fans generally, especially League of Ireland fans, don't get it wrong too often. And it's just a really worrying now. This weekend is going to be it's going to be a long weekend for them probably. But Monday, 1:00, I'd have to probably agree with Donald. It is do or die. I just don't see anything but a win. Letting them go to as far as Derry, unless they've got massive faith in what's going on, and look at more power to them if they have. But I just don't see where it goes. Christopher, are you on, Mike?
I think so.
Go on, yeah, boy. Yeah. Listen, we're having a rant. We're having a rant with 252 people here at the minute.
My head's gone. So.
And Steph is Captain Positivity will not be returning until at least May bank holiday.
He's left the building.
Okay.
Chris, you were at the game. You obviously were at the game, filming. From obviously watching the telly commentate, it's tough to listen to the comments, as Donald rightly pointed out on Twitter. But from being there, I always like to get the actual in-depth, in-live perspective of the game and the fans. What was the crack after the game? I suppose it's probably we can talk about the game as well. But was there any kind of giving out? I suppose is probably the best way of putting it. You go on mute.
He's right. He's dead right.
Can you mute yourself, Chris?
He's probably going through a sticky.
He's muted himself.
Sticky area.
Folks, just when I see the banner coming across the bottom, if you do have a man of the match, we will probably give it the pizza to drown our sorrows. If you have a man of the match for tonight, at this stage, I have visions of all Mark Coyles coming in, people looking for a pizza, give him a pizza. But if you do have a Dundalk man of the match, throw it into us.
I think anybody that stuck through the 90 minutes watching it, or actually anybody that was up there in Tolka supporting the lads.
If you're at Tolka, folks, text us in and we might be able to give you a pizza. But Steph, are we, is he back there? Is he? Did I get a message? Sorry, folks, beauty of live podcast. Steph, as it's been mentioned, what, a do or die situation Monday. If we win, and then we get bet against Derry, are we just back into square one again? Is it just something that's going to cover over something until the next game?
Yeah, I think the Rovers game gave us all the false dawn, and then it's just got progressively worse. You're hoping that Rovers seem to do it now year on year, and look, we all know the embarrassment, the riches they have in their squad, but. Look, that aside, they always seem to start poor, and then they build up momentum, and they go from strength to strength. But we started well against them, but when you look at the goal difference, even it's very, very worrying. And then when you might say, look, maybe we were unlucky here, or we hit posts, so we missed good chances. We're not. The killer is that we're not creating chances. I think that's a sickening. I think that's what fans only give. Obviously results are bad, but it's the performances. That's the real issue here. Yeah. So that look, you always hear the old cliches about the strikers, and good strikers missing loads of chances. You'd be more worried if they don't create them. It's the same with a team. If you're not creating the chances. You're just relying on keeping clean sheets then to pick up points, which isn't going to happen. Even the best teams can see goals. So that's the worry for me. We always thought if the goals dry up, you're going to be in massive trouble. And they've 2 goals in 7 games. One's a free kick and one's a 92nd minute. Cross into the box. So, yeah, there's a few half chances here or there we could talk about, or missed chances along the way, but it's not you're missing loads of chances and you just can't seem to score. It's the lack of creativity and with that lack of creativity, those half chances that's all they are. Some teams score from half chances when they've got that bit of a flow going, but because your confidence is so low, because you're not creating much and there's not really happening, you're getting midfielders, wingers are getting frustrated. When those half chances come along, they're nothing. They're nothing chances really. I mean, they're scuff shots. Your lucks, you're hitting off defenders. It's your luck's just out when you're not kind of breeding that mental confidence going down the field. Defenders, as they're watching you come along, defenders will feed off that because they know that you haven't got that in front of goal. You just can't seem to produce it. And it's like someone had said, Cammy Elliott, tonight was a defender's dream.
that's probably going forward. That's probably what we are at the minute. I mean, we're so easily read.
Gavin Malloy and Paddy Barrett weren't under any real pressure tonight, were they? Like,
yeah.
He's like keep them busy, or like Roy Keane to start a fight with somebody, Yeah, look, I don't know. Cullen coming on at the end. He's probably going to start now. Start on Monday, you'd imagine. Elliott sort of came off with an injury. But yeah, look, you don't even see a style of play where you can recognise it and go, oh yeah, well look, at least we're trying this, or this is going to click for us. So yeah, if they were like going direct to the striker and then playing off the flick balls, or they're banging the ball out wide and getting the fullbacks to support, or walking through the middle, it just seems like we're blunt, and yeah, that gives like you said, it'll give the other team so much confidence that these aren't really going to trouble us, so we can probably squeeze on. If we get one, then I'm sure it's in the dog players' heads as well. If they go a goal behind, then they're thinking, geez, we haven't scored much. We'd only scored one before tonight. Like, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, and we keep saying it, as long as I suppose it's really frustrating. It's as long as you're not playing well, I suppose, we go back to this creating chances. If we compare it to the Tally game, I know what happened. We'll go back. It's really bad as talking about Hooligan, but we played with no fear really in Tally. It looked like brand new team, brand new setup. Some lads didn't really know the league, and it's almost like that kind of that's almost been drained out of them. I don't know if that's just us watching the games. It almost seems that bit of life that they had, that little bit of go about them. It just seems to, as slowly as weeks go by, they just seem to have lost that little bit of freedom. I know obviously it was a structured game, there was a certain way of playing, but we haven't played like that since. And that's, as the weeks go on, as confidence drops, as Egypt's like us talking a podcast after a game, and I know Jason was saying that we could replay this podcast in the dressing room, but they definitely won't listen to us. But the worrying thing is that it continues and it just saps them of any kind of, not ability, but maybe creativity. Maybe they're just not confident enough, and they're not believing in each other. Maybe, and that's it shouldn't really happen in professional football. It's something that could slip in very, very easily. Obviously, you'd know better, Steph. You've been playing at the level, but
yeah, and look, you look back to the Rovers game, and it sort of suited us the way they were playing. We were happy enough to sit back and press them high, which we were doing against Shells in the first half tonight. But even when you go back to the first game, like Shelby started in goals, Monroe's in now, Davies has obviously retained his position. You had Mayowa, and you had Boyle, and you had I also forget the left back's name, but Jimmy Bullard in that.
Jimmy Bullard. Walker, get in, Chris, you boy. That's it. Live from the M1, you boy. Yeah.
There you go. And Bradshaw was playing the 6, so like there's one out of the first 6 I've named that's playing now. And look, I'm not saying all of them rightly or wrongly should be playing, but that's the sort of season we're having. Like, Mayowa got, well, I think we give him man the match. Boyle got man the match that night. Yeah. Obviously, Boyle's out injured, but look, I think the renation of their partnership was Max Mata that Friday night, or whatever night it was, Friday night against Sligo. So, yeah, look, it's looking a bit bleak, to be honest with you, Gally.
We'll try and unbleak it with this Chris fella. He was live at the game. Chris, can you unmute your mic for me, because I'm struggling? Hold on. There we go. We're good. Go for it. So obviously you're at the game. You're in situ, filming the match. What are your thoughts? Are they as bad as we're making it out to be?
Well, as I said it to our group there, when I'm interviewing Stevie later on, and he says that our attack is constipated, I think it kind of sums it all up. We possession at the back. We look shaky at times. I think there seemed to be an element of maybe don't make the mistake, along with a lot of players, and therefore that kind of stifles any sort of creativity. And I think you've seen that we were in and around their box, but just no cutting edge, nobody wanting to take something on and maybe have a shot or work them in any way. And we just recycled the ball back. And every time we done that, it was a nervy ball back every time. Like my heart was in my mouth every time we had a back pass, because it just seemed to be a yard or two a little short. And, you know, it just seemed like a lot of hurried play, a lot of play of players who were, I don't want to say frightened, but like they just did not seem to have that little, you know, when you're on a winning streak, you have the confidence to take a lot on, and that seems to be lacking in our side right now. And just every time we make a mistake, then we get punished. You know, I think first half there was very little between the two teams. I thought Shelbourne looked very slow. It was playing into our hands. They come out the second half, and I know you could say they upped the gear, but I don't think they upped it by much, and that was enough to really put us at arm's length then. And once they went ahead, you kind of feared the worst then.
And like from a I suppose from a Shelbourne point of view, did it, you know, obviously we're watching the game. It's very tough to get a grasp on the game sometimes. You're really when commentators are like, you know, I know somebody comment bring in the UCD commentators back, but you know, was there a sense in the ground that, you know, Dundalk were there for the taking? Like, you know, although we were even Stevens probably in the first half, Dundalk maybe slightly shaded it. Like Darren Meehan had commented earlier on, we seem when we come out in the second half, we almost seem like whatever happened in the team talk, it seemed to undo whatever we had in the first half. So did it look like Shell said, right, well, you know, even with the fan base that they have there as well, a big crowd, Dundalk were there absolutely there for the taking. We just looked like we could not steamroll them. I know it's only a 2-1 result that's probably flattered us, but like Steph had said earlier, they probably should have scored 3. John Martin's missed an absolute sit-up. You'd expect someone like that to go, you know, to finish it. But, you know, did it look like, did Shells look under any pressure is probably the best way I'm trying to say it. Did it look very comfortable on the ball?
They look quite comfortable. At this point, my third time seeing Shells this year, and they all look very, very comfortable on the ball. They play a very calm football. It must be a little bit frustrating for their fans, because you're just waiting for them to click into a higher gear and do something, but they're quite laboured in a lot what they do, but they hold on to possession, and they poke and they probe till they find, and they normally find it by 1 goal, and they'll win 1-0, because defensively they are as tight as anything. But with regards to the atmosphere, I think they fans were fully behind them, full of song and everything in the first half. And the longer that first half went on, they got quieter and quieter when the team found it very hard to unlock us in any way. Start of the second half, they got right behind the team again, like they did in the start of the first half, except then Shell scored, and then that got them fully going. Then they were in full voice, followed by the second then, and you just knew after that then they never shut up below me. And it felt like, in particular when it was 2-0, but it felt like cruise control for that Shelbourne team. That is, you know, their ideal situation is to be ahead in the game, because they just know how to see it out every time, and how to stifle any sort of momentum in the game to come against them. And it's just, like I say, and they wait for their opportunity, and it probably should have been 3 at least. Anyway, as you say, that big other chance then as well. It, you know, fair play to Monroe for standing up and not going down early on that. Made it a good save on it, but I suppose if you're looking for any glimmers of hope, you say, look, we did score a goal, we created a chance, we scored, so that's that monkey off the back of people keep adding up the minutes that we haven't scored, you know. But did we ever look like winning the match now is the real problem. Not tonight, and we can't afford, really, we shouldn't be able to afford even drawing against Drogheda. We need a win. We need to win very quickly before we start getting cut adrift, and that's the worry, that at the moment you'd struggle to see that cutting edge that would open a team that we could, get that win out of. Because at the moment we look very vulnerable, that we're always going to give teams the opportunity.
Yeah.
Against, and
that seemed to be a running trend last year as well.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I think we were scoring goals, Gally. This
year,
of
course, yeah.
We're still as porous as we were, but without scoring goals. So now teams know if you get ahead at Dundalk, they ain't coming back. So just keep it going, and you'll win the game out very handy without having to do too much, because we are going to give them 2-3 chances.
Yeah, like even if you go back to the Waterford game, like Amond misses a gilt-edged chance in the first half. He's like a tap in from inside the penalty box. He's probably closer in than the penalty spot, and Monroe makes a good save. But if they go ahead in that, then we're struggling big time. Like, we didn't really look like we were going to score in the Waterford game either. Like, but that's totally it. Like, if you're nullified at going forward, then the chances are you're not going to win very many games. Like, unfortunately.
Chris, just on Sod's post-match kind of constipation chat, was there any kind of we had Donald Green put up a very simple must win and draw to do or die kind of game. Was there any of that kind of questions asked on post? I haven't seen the post-match yet, but did it get to that kind of level, or
no? Not really. I suppose you probably with the local journalists, he probably would have been grilled a little bit more, because it's kind of meant to be a bit more middle of the road with LOI TV. It's probably not as in depth. But like he just said that scoring the goal tonight. He said this. Declan said you scored a goal tonight. Does that give you any hope going in now to the Louth derby? He said, look, not really. It's not. You still lost this game, which makes Monday even more important. He said that you're looking to try to get something now in that match, because we need to get a win, and like that's what we're saying as well. But I think like we talked about this 2-3 weeks ago. Is this do or die? And we were those meltdown episodes already this year. I think it's a little bit more forlorn now, that it's, unless I think if we are defeated on Monday, I think it's probably very hard to see a way back.
And even if you look, if you look at I didn't get that. And you've got Derry next Friday, which doesn't, you know what I mean? It's not there's no easy games now anyway. But with Derry next Friday, Chris, that's an even. You don't want to put your eye on that game even, but I mean, even coming off the back of draw, that's the game you're facing into. It's a real kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on that far. The draw is next, and that's all I should be worrying about. But I was saying there to Steph that Monday could be end up of Stephen's management reign. It's probably his toughest game, and that probably include. I probably put in the Pats Cup final in that as well. This will be the biggest game he's faced. 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and it's the hardest test as well to pick these players up off the floor after another defeat, after an own goal and stuff like that. Very defendable goals that we've given away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that's we are the architects to our own downfall a lot of the time, and we seem to be punished on every single mistake we make this year. And that's, like you say, it probably is. I think it's his biggest test. You're not picking up, you're not team challenging and everything's going well in a cup final, or the way we were rolling in his first season. We were probably underdogs for the majority of that season, and we were overachieving then, and that momentum suddenly came behind us. I remember we were kind of saying, we're on a roll now of X amount of wins or X amount games without a defeat. Now we're staring down. Before tonight, we were how many games without a goal, still without a win. It's a real test, I would say, to his managerial reign so far and his career. It has to be one of his toughest tests. And like you say, you come out of this game, you've got a goal, but you can't build on that because it's another defeat. You're staring into a Louth derby, and if that doesn't go well, then you're staring into Derry away. And I know they lost tonight, but they're always up to play us every time, and up there as well. You know that you're getting sacked in the morning. Chance we're out tonight as it was. Imagine them now against, if the results don't go well against Drogheda, that's going to be massive, and up in the Brandywell it could be even worse.
Yeah, and it's sorry, Steph, you jump in there. Sorry, I didn't know if you were going to say something. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, just like, I mean, just looking quickly, just at a glance, you've Drogheda, Derry. You're then at home to Pats and away to Bows. That's your next kind of 4, and you finish off April then with Sligo and then Bows again. You know, it's a real like I look at the games probably look worse now because of where we are in the league. Games are tough anyway, but like we'd said so many times at the start of the season, the utmost respect for clubs. There's no UCD this year. There's no Finn Harps. There's no Bray. That type of team. You know, everybody. Like you look at Galway beating Derry tonight. You know, you probably couldn't have had a worse start to a season in a tougher league. There hasn't probably been as good a setup in the Premier Division this year. And unfortunately, we're now paying the price for, I don't know if it's a tactical issue, if it's a signing of players that we've signed. But
combination of all, probably.
It is, yeah, it probably, there's no real, we can't really put our finger on it, but there's just something just not right. I've seen comments on Twitter tonight is, you know, what kind of, you know, we're relegation, you know, candidates, you know, as, you know, we can laugh about it. I think we did probably tongue in cheek a couple of weeks ago, but now we are. And, you know, we're the team everybody wants to play. Because, you know, that's just where we find ourselves at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, like we are given opportunities though.
Yeah.
Like if we made ourselves hard to play against, or we were scoring goals and people would say we have a threat, but at the moment we don't have a threat and we're giving up easy goals. So like everyone will want to play right now, and that's the issue. Sorry, Steph, for cutting across you.
No, exactly what you said. Like, unfortunately, that's a sad truth now at the minute. Everyone's looking at us and going, you know, can we play them next? So, and it's like Darren said it as well. Results business, and you know, it can't keep going on like that, because the further the gap grows and nothing changes, then you know it's harder to get it back. And we were in the graveyard for long enough in the first division, so you know things can spiral out of control pretty rapidly, and then you know you're struggling to get up. We see the strength. We talked about it last year. You had your UCD and you had your Cork City last year, so you know you were sort of looking at them games going, well, we'll get back on track here, or we'll you know pick up points as well against the so-called lesser teams last year. But Waterford and Galway are miles better than those two were last year. So it's you know, I don't know, you make yourself difficult to beat, and then you know you have to build on that. I thought you know maybe the Waterford game would be a building block, clean sheet, picked up a point, the break comes, and you're hoping that you know you've 2 weeks to prepare for your match against Shelbourne. I just thought we'd be better prepared than we were tonight, unfortunately, and it's down to the lack of quality in the squad, which we keep hearing that there isn't. The training's brilliant and everything's going well. Then is that down to the players then to produce it on the pitch, or is it down to the management team? But like we always know, the manager always comes in for the flak because he's sending his team out in the pitch. So if he doesn't think the players are up to it, then you need to change the players. Surely they've built that squad between whoever's been in charge of recruitment or whoever's, you know, signing the players. You know, like I don't know. From what I've seen, there's a lot of good players have gone out the door, and a lot of players that I'd say either aren't ready for League of Ireland football yet, or just aren't up to the standard. And unfortunately, that's the sad truth now at the minute. It's looking pretty doom and gloom for me at the minute, but it's hard to see anything other than that. We're not creating, we're not scoring, we're leaking silly goals, mistakes, and then the confidence isn't going to grow from that. It just all leads to not a good ending.
That's putting in mind. Go on, Chris.
Gally, just on Steph's point there, though. You know, I think he's right.
He can just end it on. I think he's right.
The first half performance tonight wasn't bad, and you think, okay, second half, let's build on that again. Now, can we be, you know, do we like? I would have took a 0-0 there tonight, no problem. If that was 2 0-0 draws back to back, I would have said that's definitely something to build on. But soon as we conceded, I think the heads went down. There was a bit of finger pointing kind of going on, and you could just see the confidence just get zapped out of players again. So I think that's a real issue, that we're just hovering around where players have confidence. Soon as we concede or there's a mistake, you can see the heads drop, and then therefore we're wide open to go and get a second against us or whatever. And that's the worrying thing, that soon as we conceded, I think all the confidence that we had from the Waterford game was gone.
Yeah.
And that's a real big test. Now, I'd heard, I didn't see or anything like that, but I think Brian Ainscough might have been at the game tonight.
I think he was.
He was. Those pictures of him.
Yeah. If you're him watching on tonight, what does he think?
And we'd mentioned a couple of weeks ago that he seems to be, you know, I don't say ruthless, but he seems to be very, you know, he knows what he's looking for and he knows what he wants. So it's an interesting, you know, next couple of, I suppose the next Monday, I suppose, I know we keep talking about Monday, but it seems to be, I don't think he'd pull any punches. He seems to be a smooth, probably a good businessman, a good business operator, but I think he comes across as someone who doesn't take any bullshit. Now, that's what I'm getting from the likes of the Q&A that I heard back. I wasn't actually physically in the room, but I suppose this will put it to the test, Steph, wouldn't it? If it's going to be if we're going to be sitting here on Monday, or whoever wants to come on and sit here on Monday, we might want to come on and sit Monday after the game. But, you know, it's a real test for everybody now involved, whether it be the recruitment, the coaching, the staff, the physios, the players, everybody.
Yeah, and look, if we're in a bit of a hole at the minute, that's when it should be galvanizing you and get everyone together. Like I've seen a few comments, like, you know, you have to play for the badge. You have to have a bit of pride in yourself. Anytime, like some of the ex-players talking here and player like coaches, Anthony Begley, seen him comment, and the coaches that have been around the game have coached with the first team. Like we've all played in teams where, you know, your back's against the wall, you dig in, make things hard for the other team. You win your 1v1 battles and you go from there. Like the first goal is prime example of everything that's wrong. Like Bert's gone unopposed for 30 yards and then strikes from outside the box. It sort of think funny, the flight, whatever, but like a clever player takes the yellow card 30 yards out. I've seen, you might say it's cynical and that, but you know, it stops a goal and it stops their pressure, and you know, you use your head in them sort of instances. And like Chris said, as soon as the first goal went in, you've boys pointing fingers and that, you know, like everyone, if it's a mistake, it's a mistake, you know. But you know, for everyone to start pointing the finger at each other doesn't bode well for, you know, the boys getting together and really battling against. Like if they have a chip on their shoulder and think, you know, everyone's giving out about them and they should be rowing in behind the team, they need to show it as well. They need to show the fans that they are willing to, you know, stick their foot in, or, you know, battle for their jersey. I seen Johnson doing a bit of it tonight, and like one or two others have just gone missing for me. I don't know if they're playing in the wrong positions or the game's just bypassing them, but it's that second half just drained the life out of me, to be honest. Nearly lost my hair and everything.
Lads, I didn't get a chance to see it back or anything, but in Stephen's post-match, he said he thought we should have had a penalty. That the foul on Ryan O'Kane, how did it look?
It looked like a penalty for me. We were just having a laugh and a joke at the end, saying, you know, we would have having to wear balaclavas leaving Tolka if we had to snatch the point at the end there. But yeah, like
it definitely looked like a little bit of a pull, didn't it?
It's sort of, the camera sort of pans to it, and I'm not blaming the camera skills at all, but it's following the ball, and when it goes to O'Kane, it looks like
the player lost his balance and fell into Ryan. Is that what happened?
Yeah, possibly.
But he definitely reaches out and kind of grabs a bit, doesn't he, when he on his way down? I think that's kind of the.
You see the hands coming out and then them sort of pulling back, but O'Kane looks like he's either tripped or it does look like a foul. I don't know if we're being biased on it.
It looked like he fell onto Ryan's leg or something as he's coming down, or he puts his hand on his leg as he's lost his balance and takes Ryan down. And like I always say, in those sort of instances, looking at players' reactions is always a good gauge of whether it was or it wasn't. Like the Dundalk players were straight over to the ref straight away, like demanding the penalty. Like they were convinced it was, and they were all fairly close in the box at the time. So I think it's just one of those things then when your luck's out. If it wasn't for bad luck, we'd have no luck sometimes.
Yeah. It certainly looked like a penalty. When I first seen it, I thought it was a penalty, and then any replays that I've seen since still look like a penalty. But guess we'll never know.
I think it almost happened that fast at a goal. It was almost kind of, even the ref was thinking, he's probably thinking, God, do I give a penalty here? There was no hesitation. He wasn't giving it. But I think if he looks back, I definitely think there's a little bit of something there. But look, on a night like that, we absolutely balaclavas at the ready step. We would have robbed it. But look, we would have took it. But I mean, we would have absolutely mullered it, absolutely butchered it there and took it. But look, that's some things you need nights like that. Unfortunately, we're just not getting the rub of it at the last couple of games. And he going on as far as back as Tala. But look, that's we're just. I suppose, Chris, it's as I said to Steph earlier on, just to kind of finish it up, and we might attempt to give away a pizza. It definitely won't be for man of the matches, but we attempt to give away some of the comments there. Steph will have a look through them. But is it all eyes now Monday 1:00? Is it now? It's it's a massive game. Fans got to get up, and look, we say this after every match, but I know it's a difficult kick-off time maybe on Easter Monday. I think it's actually a great time to get, especially now whether or not you want kids up. I don't know what the abuse might be like, but 1:00 in the day, it's an unusual kick-off, but it's a cracking day to get up. Loud derby, Easter Monday. The fans have got to get up there. Like you got to get them. The positivity in, as much as we don't want to give it at the minute. We haven't got it to give, but we can't sit back and watch it on the yellow white TV. It's a great service as it is. We got to get up there in our droves and pack out the place, haven't we, on Monday, as much as we can. Yeah, look, I think you don't want to start saying this is a cup final or whatever, but if it's going to, I think the atmosphere and everything was fairly decent, and there wasn't, the fans were definitely behind them at that Waterford match, and we'd have, we were so close to taking all 3 points in it. The 3 points is just whether we're playing for this manager, another manager, or whatever. 3 points is still the most important thing for this team. So I think everybody's got to get behind this. We all got to roll in, because the longer this goes on without that win, the harder the season's going to go. And we, if that's just the crowd behind the players, willing them on and giving them the confidence from the stands to push on and get something, if that's what it takes, that's what it's going to have to take. And let's just, absolutely everyone get behind this team and let's get this bloody win. Is it too early in the season to be looking for my 1-0s off the arse moments? I said it. No joke, Chris. I said it afterwards 6 minutes. I said a Chris Clark special we would have took tonight, or even on Monday. I said it actually earlier before you come on. We would take and we'd mentioned obviously the fans before we wrap up. We don't keep everybody all night, but we're looking for performance at the end of the day. But I mean, we will take we're at the stage and we will take Like it's any result now. That's even
It's
even a
own
bad,
goals. It's
even a bad,
anything at this
yeah,
stage.
but even a bad win might not cover it. Do you know that? We're at that stage now where even a dodgy, off the arse, as you say, Chris, I don't know whether that'll cover up enough. We're really looking for the whole package here, aren't we? Performance at Oriel Park. I know we're asking a lot after the last couple of weeks, but yeah, Steph, look, you're going to jump in here, go.
Yeah, something in the, I don't know, something in the back of my head, just remembering back from the start of last year, and I think we went to Dalymount Park around this time last year and we got beaten 3-2. I think we were 2-1 up.
That's right.
And we got beaten 3-2, and Slog had done an interview in Dalymount after, and he said, it's mad what a week in football can do.
Yeah.
Just to grasp onto a bit of optimism. And I think we won two games in a row. The 2 games after that, I could be wrong. Someone will probably come out and say it was bullshit and we got hammered in the 2 games. But no, I think we won the 2 games, and then next of all, everything was looking just a little bit brighter. And it's still early enough days that if you can pick up 2 wins, then you're jumping up the table again. Rovers have done it already. So, but yeah, look, we need something. We need the players to come out and be fucking fighting for the jersey. If the crowd can get there early, Easter Monday.
Take the eggs with you. Take the chocolate eggs up with you.
Yeah, take the Easter eggs, and then you can fire them at the draw of the players. Or defend how it goes then. But yeah, look, if we can get up and we can be vocal, and when's the last time you went up to a game and you just you could feel a bit of buzz about Oriel Park? I think we need that. We need I'd take all the Shed boys having flares and getting a big massive fine if we can have a mad atmosphere, and maybe the players will feed off that or something. But we need a vocal Shed if the stand can get involved as well. And we talked about Fortress Oriel before and seasons gone, and if we can try and if we can make our home form even count, at least then you can you can sort of have something to look forward to on your Friday nights going up to Oriel Park. Yeah, look, it's massive. I think it is do or die, and I hope we're still alive come Monday evening.
Chris, any final thoughts?
Stephen Braveheart McKevitt.
Up your boy, yeah.
After that speech.
Yeah, you know what? It's the blue paint.
Freedom!
I'll have to get the black and white paint on the face.
Lads, look, I think we'll have to wrap. As busy as it is, and as busy as the viewers are as well. I appreciate everybody listening in, because we'll be back on Monday, I suppose, hopefully with, as Jason Crawley has put it, hopefully we will have an Easter Rising. But
give a mention to the sponsors there before you go.
Yeah, we will, absolutely. Yes, Chris, we will, boss. Yes, from the M1. So obviously we didn't have a man of the match tonight because it probably would have went to Mark Coyle in Shell's jersey, but we're not doing that. So Steph, do you want to pick someone from? We're just going to pick a random person from the comments there and just give away a pizza.
Yeah, I said at the start it was somebody up in Tolka. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure there's going to be loads of comments given out to me now, but I know Darren Meehan was up with a couple of his boys, the Bomber and his other young lad. So I think it's fitting that we give somebody that went up to Tolka the pizza tonight. And he obviously voted Mark Coyle man of the match anyway. So we'll give it to Darren Meehan.
Darren's name on the side. There's that many comments. I actually can't find Daz's name on the comments here. But look at Darren Meehan. Well done. Meehan. We need to get that name right, because I messaged him last week thinking he messaged the podcast and he didn't. It was Meehan. So we're going to go with, look, get pizza up, order away. We'll let Tony know, or Vinny know, and hopefully we might have another one on Monday night for an actual man of the match.
If we get 3 points,
might get some of the songs out back at Christmas as well. But lads, look, appreciate everybody coming on. Appreciate all the comments. Massive crowd looking at it tonight. And look, it's unfortunate we have a massive crowd because of the results what happened. But look, that's a sport. This is what it's all about. But thanks to our sponsors, Dundalk Village, Player Fit gear as well. We do keep saying it every podcast. You might get some new stuff, but we might with the results we have, might try and cheer everybody up with some new gear over the next couple of weeks. But and obviously Tony's Pizzeria as well for doing all our pizzas each week. So look, lads, appreciate it. Hopefully it's like Jason has probably put it with Chris. You might have a couple of different. There's definitely a few names into the hat for the name of tonight's podcast, but definitely an Easter Rising hopefully on Monday. And I suppose 1 o'clock, all eyes on Oriel Park. Like you say, Steph, probably from 12 o'clock, 12:15, we can get up and make it as noisy and as even make the warm up difficult for the draw of the players. That'd be the real kind of way of going about it, wouldn't it?
Shedside Army organise something, walk up to Oriel Park.
That's it.
There you go.
Bank holiday Monday, straight from the town, right up past the wee house, up we go. But until then, folks, I suppose it's only come on to town, isn't it?